can the UK and the EU sort of coexist and both do their own thing to some degree and cooperate in other areas without sort of falling over each other too much?
I think it's a really interesting question because obviously the UK is very clearly woven into a whole set of relationships as a consequence of the EU. And I think this question as to whether the two are in a competitive or quasi-competitive relationship is an interesting one. If it is, then it's clearly an asymmetric competitive relationship because of the relative size of the markets of each. But I think where we're likely to see things go is that the sensible thing to do, which may not necessarily be the course that each decides to take, is that they should see one another as privileged partners and look for ways to make the relationship exceptional for both sides. And that's the interesting thing, I think, about the Northern Ireland Protocol, because obviously to make the particular circumstances of Northern Ireland work, the EU's had to bend in some areas that it normally doesn't bend with a third country. And I think that's a recognition that the UK is in a different place from other European countries. But I think perhaps the broader question that's more difficult to consider is how both sides view the evolution of geoeconomics and geopolitics. I think the UK has in some respects been quite a significant thought leader in terms of anticipating some of the changes that we've seen recently brought to bear on both the UK and the EU. And if you think about the geoeconomics, the really big question to grapple with now is protectionism, as well as how we address questions of key technology sharing and key commodities.